From San Francisco, it's Ironclad Live. Today's special guest, Ted Sanders, Adam Nace, Ryan Marks, Catherine Chick. From Ironclad, Chief AI Architect Cai GoGwilt, Michaela Waters, the one and only DJ Thad, and now, your host, Mel Wong.
Thank you so much. Hey. Hello, Ironclad Live. Welcome to a beautiful San Francisco. It is so good to see so many of your faces. So thank you for being here. Let me just say, we have an amazing show for you. We have some pretty incredible presenters and some pretty incredible stories to tell. We have our partner and customer, OpenAI. They're here. We have, thank you, like they're pretty cool, right? I don't know if any of you have heard of them. We have Everlaw here, also like our peer company. We have Airtable here, which is one of the most innovative companies. And we also have our own Cai GoGwilt, our chief AI architect and the leader of what we're doing in our product and design. So it's going to be a pretty great show, and I'm going to do my best to shepherd us through it. And with that, I will say this. Most of us aren't technical, or at least I'm not, right? And so we thought we'd give you a little AI 101. And with that, we're pretty lucky to have Stanford PhD and professional GPT whisperer, Ted Sanders, from OpenAI to teach us a little bit about what you're going to see today. So Ted, yeah, come on up. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ted. I'm from OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT and GPT-4. And I'm excited to spend a few minutes talking to you about something that I love, how AI is changing the software tools that we all use. A month ago, OpenAI released GPT-4, the world's best large language model. We think it's pretty darn cool. When we showed it to Bill Gates, he said it was one of the 2 most revolutionary tech demos he had ever seen, the other one being the graphical user interface in 1980, which led to the modern PC. If you haven't seen GPT-4, it's a model that takes in text and emits text. You can ask it questions. So for example, we can ask it, what replaced the clear and present danger doctrine? Answer in 2 sentences for a legal audience. If we do that, the model will give us an answer. It says the clear and present danger doctrine was replaced by the imminent lawless action test established in Brandenburg, yada, yada, yada. And to me, this is really impressive. Like, if you look at my question, I never actually mentioned Brandenburg. I never actually mentioned imminent lawless action test. It's not kind of looking up keywords, but it understands that, okay, I'm asking for the thing that replaced the clear and present danger doctrine. Like, it can understand natural language, it can answer questions, and it's smart enough to know that, like, really the key points of Brandenburg are the intention to incite and the likelihood of producing imminent lawless action. In addition, you can also give the model instructions. You can say, rewrite this in a 4-line poem in the style of Shakespeare. If we do that, the model whips something up for us. In Brandenburg's case, a test was wrought to quell the danger doctrine clear, for speech to lawless acts be brought, intent and likelihood must ever appear. And this is a question that has never been asked before in human history, as far as I know. But the model has enough understanding that it knows what 4 lines are, knows what a poem is, knows what the style of Shakespeare is, knows what Brandenburg is about, knows that intent and likelihood are kind of the 2 key prongs, and it's able to take all of that understanding to create something brand new that has never existed before. So it's pretty magical. If you look at how well this does on tests that we give to regular people, for example, the LSAT, the SAT, the GRE, it's operating in this narrow way at a human level. So on the LSAT, roughly 90th percentile, SAT reading and writing and math, roughly 90th percentile, GRE, 80th, 99th percentile. It's quite good. Still not perfect, still makes mistakes, This is still very narrow. I don't expect that AI is going to be replacing any of us soon, but it's a huge step up over what's happened before and what's happened in the past. And we really think this technology is now at the point where it is kind of going from toy to tool. So where does this magic come from? It's actually pretty simple how we train these models. It's kind of a two-step recipe. Step number one is we have this model, we feed it gazillions of documents, and we just give it a single task. Predict the next word in each document that you read. And this task is actually quite magical because it turns out in order to, say, read a paragraph and predict the word that comes next, you end up having to learn how to spell. You end up having to learn grammar. You learn English. If you have documents in many languages, you have to learn many languages. If you have documents with code, you have to learn how to code. You have to learn the concepts behind the text. And it turns out that just giving these models this very simple task, predict the next word in a document, is enough to teach them all of this knowledge, to teach them the concepts behind words. So at the end of this first step, we end up with something smart, but not necessarily so well behaved. So then we have a second step where we tune the model with human feedback to properly follow instructions. So for example, we have to teach the model, if you ask a question, it should give an answer, rather than give 10 more questions, because today is question asking day. And after that, we get something pretty amazing, GPT-4. But as good as GPT-4 is, it still makes mistakes. Here is a bit of a howler. We can ask it, name a country with A as the third letter. Seems pretty simple, right? It says a country with A as the third letter is Kazakhstan. And A is not the third letter of Kazakhstan. The reason for this failure in particular is that GPT had a little bit of a different education than we all did. It actually reads words in chunks called tokens, so it's not even reading letter by letter. So this is one thing that you learn, that when working with GPT-4, actually anything that has to do with individual characters or digits, it's actually quite bad at, because it's not even reading the words letter by letter. It's sort of having to memorize these facts about oh, this word has this letter in it, but it can't actually read it. The model is also bad at some other things. It's bad at any recent knowledge because its training data only goes up to September 2021. It's not that great at reasoning, not that great at planning. Also, just like you or me, doesn't have infinite memory. So for some things in particular, like URLs and citations, it will sometimes make them up. You have to be careful. And I think the real takeaway for you as you start to use AI more and more in your tools is that I think AI is really great for tasks where checking is easier than doing. So tasks where you still have a human expert in the loop, but the model can write you a draft, it can brainstorm ideas, it can give you suggestions, but at the end of the day, you as the end user still have to kind of say, is this what I want? Is this what I'm happy with? Is this the quality that I'm looking for? And it's really great for those use cases. So the takeaway that I have for you, GPT-4, we're really excited by it. We think it's very good. Honestly, it's just the beginning of what's coming, and I think that's what I personally find most exciting. It's the tip of the iceberg. It's already today, I think, in a place where it is able to add real value for real professionals doing real work. But it's still not perfect. It still makes mistakes, and you have to treat it like other tools. Just like with a car, don't drive with the blindfold on. Keep your hands on the wheel, check your mirrors, and it should help you get to your destination faster. Thank you.
I am pretty excited to introduce a pretty special person to Ironclad and just a lovely person overall. Please welcome to the stage Cai GoGwilt, our Chief AI Architect.
Hi, everyone. So let's just jump right in. Last year, I took a road trip up the California coast with my buddy and our general counsel, Chris Young. We had a great time. We talked about the future of AI. We talked about the future of digital contracting. We had a chance to meet with customers face-to-face for the first time in years. We got to talk to Chris at One Medical, Charles at L'Oreal, Amanda at Rivian. Yeah, let's give them a hand. They told us They told us all about how they were using Ironclad AI to up-level digital contracting at their organizations. We ended the road trip right here in San Francisco with an opportunity to talk to this guy, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. And he told us that something amazing was about to happen, that humanity's eyes would be open to the possibilities of some new technology. And actually, let's just hear it from him directly.
I think the thing that at this point a lot of people believe is that, we'll get to a human level language model that can do stuff that humans can do very well in the not super distant future. And so, you can have one lawyer that can now take the bad parts out of their job they don't like doing, have the AI do that, and be 10 times as productive and spend their time on the parts they enjoy more.
All right. So that was last year, and that was Sam telling us, I think, something he already knew. But for the rest of us, just a few weeks later, ChatGPT. ChatGPT came out, and it changed everything. All right, so can I get a show of hands? Who here has used ChatGPT before? All right, that's basically everyone. All right, actually, keep your hands up if when you used ChatGPT the first time, you found it absolutely amazing. All right, all the hands back up again. I'm with you, and at Ironclad, we're with you. We think that this technology is game-changing. So if last year the AI landscape was like a road trip, this year it feels like a rocket ship. And we are strapped in, and we are accelerating past escape velocity, and we are blasting off into space, and it is intense. It is intense, and it is exciting, and it is exhilarating. And yeah, it's a little bit terrifying. You're reading these articles in the news, or at least I'm reading these articles in the news that are telling us that ChatGPT is going to make our lives so much better, that the future of work is going to be ChatGPT. I'm also reading articles that are telling me that this is the apocalypse. This is the end of civilization. So with all of this chaos, with all of these mixed messages, what are we supposed to believe? So let's try to simplify things. What is this technology exactly? Well, the way we think about it is this is technology that allows computers to read, to write, and to reason. Reading, writing, and reasoning. So simple, but this is so incredibly cool, so incredibly awesome. I think this is also why we have people saying that, hey, lawyers are not going to be here in a couple of years, right? All a lawyer does is read and write contracts, and now we have computers that can read and write contracts as well. So a couple of years from now, we won't need lawyers. But that's not the way I look at it, and that's not the way that Ironclad looks at it. We see a vision in the not too distant future where your leadership team is coming to you at a fork in the road because they know that you have the data at your fingertips. They know that you understand the opportunities and the risks that are built into your contractual obligations. They know that you have the data to back it up, to help them make the right decision that could be existential to your company. Or we see a future where it's the end of the quarter and your sales team is absolutely killing it and their contracts flying left and right, and you are at dinner at home with your family. Because before this all happened, you and your team set up all the parameters, trained the AI to make sure that everything stayed within guardrails. You gave your sales team the ability to negotiate the contracts you need, and you know that if it goes outside of the guardrails, you're going to get an alert, and you're going to be right there with them. We see a future where legal is no longer the laggard of technology adoption, but in fact, where legal is leading the way. And who better to lead the way than legal, a domain where reading, writing, and reasoning have been so core. At Ironclad, we're super excited about this technology, and we're pushing the frontier by actually applying this technology. That's why we're building prototypes. That's why we're running customer betas. We start to see that there is more that this technology is capable of than we realized. So we've established 3 principles to help us move quickly and responsibly with AI, and I'd like to share those with you today. So first, we use always the most advanced AI. GPT-4 is head and shoulders above GPT-3's capabilities, and GPT-3 is more capable than any other large language model we've ever tested. The capabilities of this technology are changing rapidly, and our commitment to you is that you're going to be using the most advanced large language models in the Ironclad platform at all times, because that's where the future is. Secondly, we're making AI intuitive integrated, and useful. Now, usability and adoption have always been core to the Ironclad platform, but with AI, this is no different. AI is going to change the world, but the only way it's going to do that is if all of you are actually using it, are actually pushing the boundaries, are actually applying it to the areas where you have subject matter expertise. So we're weaving AI directly into the platform, into the tools you know and love, so that you can push the boundaries, so that you can make it do more than we could ever imagine. And finally, we're letting customers control when and how to apply it, because using this technology is a shared responsibility, and you understand the risks and the opportunities of your company better than anyone else in the world. So these are our principles for Contract AI. We think that this technology is going to change the world, and we're pushing the boundaries here by building prototypes, by running customer betas, by getting your feedback so that you can help us dream bigger, push the boundaries of what's possible, and deliver a future of legal with AI deeply integrated. So enough talking about principles, enough talking about talk. Let's get to the real stuff. When we thought about how we were going to start working with OpenAI, working with GPT-4, we thought, of course, about the domain in legal where you read and write and reason the most. And that, to us, meant contract review and negotiation. And so I am so excited to announce that our first feature using generative AI technology, AI Assist, is now generally available to our entire customer base today. This is AI negotiation happening using GPT-4, one-click redlining, identifying issues, and allowing you to do more with generative AI technology. We've been running a customer beta for a couple of months now, and the results have been astounding. Customers are using this every single day. They're being able to do more contract negotiations than they could before. Let's jump into a video demonstration of it.
Ironclad customers now have access to the world's most advanced generative AI for contract negotiation. It's called AI Assist. Let's see how it works. Here, we're looking at a master service agreement, and looks like this customer data clause needs some work. So we'll select it and bring in AI Assist. AI Assist analyzes the clause for anything that might be missing or unacceptable, and provides a few suggestions. And here's what we're looking for: a provision for notification in case of a data breach. Now, AI Assist generates a few options for how to word it. We'll pick the one we like best, and AI Assist makes the edit. Pretty cool, right? Let's look at another example. We want this clause to provide mutual non-disclosure, so we'll select it, and this time we'll type in our own request. Make confidentiality mutual. Just like ChatGPT, AI Assist can interpret this prompt and generate the edits we're looking for. The first one looks great, so we'll swap it in. All right, one final example. Here, we can see that Ironclad AI has analyzed the contract, compared it against your company's contract playbook, and flagged the areas with potential issues. We could address these one by one, but instead, let's get some help from AI Assist. In a second or two, AI Assist suggested red lines for all 5 issues at once, based on your preferred positions. We'll review and apply all changes. As you can see, the issues have been resolved, and we're ready to send it to the counterparty. So that's an overview of AI Assist, one of the latest additions to Ironclad's AI-powered digital contracting platform.
So I am pretty excited for the first of our 3 guests to come on stage. Let's give a warm round of applause to Adam Nace, Director of Legal Operations at OpenAI. Hello, Adam. Come take a seat.
Thank you.
Adam, welcome to the couch.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Great to be up here.
It's great to have you. What did you think of your colleague, Ted?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Always breathtaking.
Breathtaking, I agree. Okay, Adam Nace, would you do us a favor and maybe just give the crowd a little refresher on who you are and what you do at OpenAI?
Absolutely. So I'm Adam Nace, Head of Legal Operations at OpenAI. I was the third hire on the legal team. I am now still the only non-lawyer on a team of 10.
Cool.
So as you can imagine, there's an awful lot that is on my plate. So from managing Ironclad, outside counsel billing, e-discovery, and then all the projects that all of our individual attorneys bring to me.
Yeah, jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bench
got
player.
Okay. I love this about you. So for the first time in 10 years, your family actually knows the company that you work for.
Yeah.
They know the name of the company you work for. And you worked at some pretty legitimate companies, right?
I think so.
I think so too. Twitter, Slack, OpenAI. Can you tell me a little bit about why they know what you do now?
I mean, it's just ChatGPT is in the news all over the place. I've definitely, spoken with my family and oh my God, have you seen this thing? Yes, I've seen it. My father-in-law came over actually the other day, and he'd been a little bit reluctant to try it. He was a little freaked out about what do I do? How do I ask it something? And I was like, look, you just ask it a question. And I was like, let's just log in and give it a shot. And so we logged in, and he's a Little League coach, and we asked it some coaching questions, and it just immediately started spitting out really useful, interesting stuff. We went all the way down the rabbit hole, much like Ted demonstrated. We asked it to write poetry about double plays, and now he's like off to the races, and it's an indispensable part of his day-to-day, which is awesome.
Yeah, everybody go do this with your father-in-law or your mother-in-law. Ask them to ask ChatGPT something. Okay, I read, and I think most people know this, but ChatGPT was the fastest growing product of all time. No big deal. You had over 100 million users sign up for ChatGPT in less than a month. I mean, I think I was probably one of those users.
I think so.
Let me just, on an average day for you, Adam Nace, at OpenAI, like what lands on your plate when you're working for a company that has the fastest growing product of all time?
All of it?
Yeah. Okay.
All of it, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest legal issues, or the biggest issues I face day to day are on the commercial side, on the employment side. We have tons of really talented, really smart people who are out evangelizing our product. They want to talk about it. They want to get other people in the loop. So as you can imagine, just tons and tons of NDAs. We're a growing company. Everybody wants to buy a new cool thing to help them with their job. So procurement's going off. It's just, it's all the time, everything from every direction.
Got it. Okay. Sounds super.
So it's super chill.
Super chill. You're starting to use AI Assist. What is your vision for that at OpenAI? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about how you see your two worlds coming together?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think in the video, Sam said it best. Like, we don't want to just throw bodies at the problem. That's certainly one way to go about it. You can have a bunch of lawyers, reviewing, the same thing over and over and over again, and everybody's miserable and nobody gets to work on anything cool. Or you can use something awesome like AI Assist and AI playbooks and make sure that you're like just really carving off that really boring, repetitive part of the job. We have a lean team. We work on cool stuff. We have a cool product. Everybody's super excited to work on the novel things. So anything we can do to free up those minutes and those cycles and get them away from talking about like, oh, what's governing law on this one? Like that, that stuff can just, if it can fall by the wayside via AI Assist, then so much the better for everybody.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for leading the way on that. We could probably spend hours talking about what advice you have for folks that are turning on Ironclad for the first time, or maybe they've turned on Ironclad and they're trying to figure out how to get to the next level and make it a little bit better. Would you mind doing a little like, hey, here's my advice for you. Here's how you make it better. Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the two words that come to mind are just test and demo. Bring stuff out to your business partners and show them what you've done and let them know what else you can do, but let them kind of drive those decisions. Like I can write a workflow for an offer letter, but I'm not a recruiter. I'm not the person who's on the front lines of that. So like I need to go to that team and I need to say, look, this is what I've done. Here are 5 other things that I could do. What makes the most sense and what direction do you want to take this? And let them be the expert and let them inform the process that ends up getting built. And then you don't have to walk anything back later. You don't have to worry about like, oh man, I made this assumption and of course it was wrong. Like now I have to go back and like, completely gut this thing that I spent a bunch of time on. So yeah, just test and demo and be an evangelist for the tools that you have.
Awesome. Thank you. thank you for what you're doing for Ironclad. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. This is great.
But I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Pretty awesome. Okay. With that, I'm pretty excited to bring back Cai. He's going to show us a couple of more new exciting features on the AI front. Cai, can you come back up?
We have a couple more really exciting announcements to make about what's new in Ironclad AI. AI, data, and insights. Last year, we unveiled Smart Import that allows you to extract data from your contracts and make it immediately searchable and organized in the Ironclad repository. We unveiled it with 13 key properties that were extracted, things like counterparty name and agreement date. And you know what? Customers loved it. Started using it for everything. But as our customers do, they asked us for more and they pushed us to do better. So with all the advances in AI technology, we put our R&D team up to the task and they started pushing on it, started researching what clauses, what properties would be most impactful, how we were going to deliver those. And I'm excited to announce that we now have 194 terms and clauses. 194 terms and clauses. That's all available today with Smart Import, but there is more. So Smart Import now supports 194 terms and clauses. It can organize your repository of contract information, extract key data. It'll OCR all of the contracts. And very recently, we added the ability to do duplicate detection. So don't have to worry about that anymore. We thought that allowing you to drag and drop 2,000 contracts would be enough, but apparently it's not. And that's why I'm super excited to announce that the Smart Import API is now in beta. So you can add as many contracts as you want. Yeah. So now via API, you can automatically extract those 194 terms and clauses, automatically OCR everything. You can connect it up to your internal systems. It's all going to work seamlessly. But there is one more thing, and that is clause-level insights. So now, if you go into Ironclad Insights, you'll be able to actually analyze those clauses, those 194 terms that Smart Import can extract. If you're using playbooks, you'll be able to analyze the contract usage there. Maybe you're wondering if that one clause that you had a fallback 2A on is slowing down business. Well, yes, it is, and Ironclad Insights will tell you that. So that is available today. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Mel.
Thank you. Okay, next up, I'm excited to introduce a really special customer of ours, Ryan Marks from Airtable, head of legal. Are you somewhere around? There you are. Come on up. Excited to put you in the hot seat. Hi. Okay, take a seat on our thing. Welcome, Ryan, to the stage. We are very excited to have you. I'm very excited to have you. Tell us what you do at Airtable.
Sure, yeah. I lead the legal team at Airtable. Airtable is a connected apps platform that helps users create business applications without having to know how to code. I can definitely identify with you a little bit, Adam, because until a certain point, I think my parents thought that I worked for a company that built air hockey tables, and so it took them a while to kind of get the messaging right, too. I was the first legal hire a few years ago, just after the pandemic started in 2020, and have been fortunate to grow the team to 10 wonderful legal professionals. And we are enthusiastic users of Ironclad and really excited to see everything that's cooking.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for that great intro. Let's dive right in. So, is this right? I've heard that your biggest advice to other in-house counsel is to think of themselves as a car mechanic. Is that right?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the pieces of advice. It kind of shocked me as well when I came to that. Quick story, one of the advantages when you move back to the town where you grew up is you get to start using the car mechanics and tailors and every other professional that you've been using for many, many years. And in my family's case, we've been going to a mechanic named Brian for something like 30 years. A couple of years ago, I took my old Jeep Cherokee in because I had a problem with my air conditioning. he told me that they ran some tests on it and we were going to have to replace the thing. It was going to be costly, it was going to take some time, but I went ahead and I did it because Brian told me that that's what was needed. And I actually took a step back and said, well, what was it that caused me to just trust his advice, somewhat blindly? I know nothing about cars. He probably could have told me anything. I really have no objective sense that Brian's even particularly expert in his field. But what I realized was that it was actually many years of him sending a different message to me, which is there were lots of times that I can remember where I went in with some problem with my car, and he actually said, hey, you could fix this part, but to be honest, I don't know that it's actually worth the trouble. I think you can get by with what you have for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to lose your car for a few days. And I got the sense that he was sort of not just looking out for his own interests, not looking from his own lens exclusively, but really aligned himself with what I was probably thinking about, which is some combination of balancing safety and convenience and cost. And I think what that really resulted in was trust. And I think legal professionals can learn a lot from that in kind of putting risk and the legal lens that they have within the larger context of the challenges that we're trying to solve. And in the process, build some trust with the stakeholders that rely on them.
I actually like that a lot. I don't have a Brian. I would like one, I think. But let's talk about risk for a second, because I actually think you do have a unique perspective on legal risk. And you've said this in the past, but that part of your job is really to help your business partners get more comfortable taking on risk.
Right.
Whereas I think sometimes in this profession, you hear the opposite. And I'm hoping that maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. At its core, a legal professional's job is to identify and mitigate legal risks that affect their business, in the case of an in-house lawyer, their clients. But the secret that we have is that in the vast, vast majority of cases, that legal risk is never going to materialize. So all of these contract clauses that we spend a ton of time reviewing, 99% of them will never be tested by the courts. And all of those compliance programs that we put together, many of those will never come under regulatory scrutiny. So what do we do with that? Do we kind of say, oh, I guess our job is meaningless and kind of run for the hills? Our perspective is that is an opportunity to kind of really put those legal risks in a context that allows us to encourage our stakeholders to take responsible risk, which is, of course, a really important part of growing any business. And so the reality is that if you talk not just about the worst thing that could happen if some sort of legal risk materializes, but how likely or unlikely that actually is to materialize, and you discount risks for that unlikelihood, then I think you're going to find that a lot of risks are worth taking, and you'll be able to have a lot of conversations that generate the sort of trust that Brian generated in me.
I love that. How does this model that you have affect your relationship with your internal clients?
Yeah, I'd like to think they see us a little bit like the mechanic. They hear us saying yes a lot. They hear us putting legal issues in the context of broader business objectives. Yeah. We have used Ironclad, an integration with our own product, Airtable, to do a lot of the things that are now going to be automated that we're seeing today, to really provide a rich repository of all of the terms that we have agreed to in our contracts, so that we can look at legal risk at the portfolio level. And instead of wringing our hands about one particular deal where, honestly, we probably have little leverage, because it's those big deals with big customers that are used to throwing their weight around that we tend to spend a lot of our time on, instead of really focusing on the particular profile of that deal, we can measure the overall health of our contractual risk portfolio and put that deal within that larger context. And we can really understand, what does it mean to agree to this term in this situation? And it might turn out that those hundreds of other contracts that are just on your standard terms are a pretty good hedge for that increased risk. And it can really open up an opportunity to be more aggressive, to tell your sales teams, what they want to hear. And then I think also, when it does come time to change that air conditioner, when you do have to deliver some hard truths and say, hey, this is an area where we need to dig in, I think you've built that credibility, and it's pretty clear that your goals and your incentives are aligned.
Thank you for that. I think all of us could probably adopt that in our own personal lives a little bit too. I'm trying to build trust with my toddler right now. It's super hard. I should just tell her the truth more and let her slide with things that are probably risky, but not actually going to come to fruition, right?
There you go.
Yeah, okay, great, okay. Worried about where our jobs are going to be or what they're going to look like in 5 years? I mean, we're talking a lot about the future of technology and AI, and I'm just curious.
I would not say that I'm worried. I am very confident that our jobs are going to look a lot different 5 years from now. I think in general, stereotypically, lawyers and legal professionals are pretty resistant to technology. I think we tend to think of the law as more art than science. You know, we can't be measured through data. We can't be sort of replaced or optimized through technology as easily as some other roles. But I think AI is a really big wake-up call, that thinking about technology, thinking about ways that innovation can make our jobs easier is a critical part of our jobs. And so I think it certainly has incredible potential to complement what we do and make what we do easier. And I think the only thing that would worry me is if I were on a path to doing my job in the same way 5 years from now to the way that I'm doing it now, because I think that would create some real risk that we're missing the boat.
Wow, that's very forward thinking, and you seem to have a very good relationship with risk. And I think it's a really great model for everybody in the room.
Risk and I are tight.
Yeah, I can see that. I see that you're cool as a cucumber. Okay. Like I asked Adam, there are a lot of people that either are Ironclad customers or maybe they're thinking about turning Ironclad on for their business, and you've actually done some pretty incredible things with the two systems, Airtable and Ironclad, put together. And what advice do you have for folks that are turning it on for the first time? And maybe you can kind of distill a couple of ways that you've been successful.
Yeah, I think one piece of advice that I would share, and I think I can honestly get a little bit better at following this advice, is to really lean into the new features and functionality that come along. I think onboarding and implementation is such a huge moment when it comes to new tooling that we can tend to kind of want to put things on cruise control once we have the whole thing set up. This is our system. This is the way we do it. Ironclad is integrated and set up to help us do those things. But the reality is that what the onboarding of a tool like Ironclad does is create a partnership with a company that's really out there figuring out how to make legal professionals' jobs easier. And so if we can make sure to step back every quarter or so, or every time there's a new release, and just say, hey, how might we want to integrate this into our own work and make sure that we don't kind of get stale with our existing processes, I think that would go a long way, because we got to keep changing and we got to kind of keep up with what's coming down the road.
Thank you for an awesome little session.
Thank you.
We give it up for Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, so back to the stage. Cai GoGwilt here with the last presentation on what's coming with Ironclad. Welcome, Cai.
All right, thank you everybody, and thank you, Mel. So, AI contract controls. This is an area that I'm super excited to talk about that's going to have some new awesome advancements in the next just couple of months with Ironclad AI. A couple of months ago, we unveiled AI playbooks, and we have been so astonished by how people are using it. There are large multinational companies that are using AI playbooks to negotiate and to identify the risk in over 50% of their contracts. And from that, we've learned a lot of new things that we need to add to this functionality to make it even more effective at helping you negotiate repetitive contracts effectively. So you're going to be able to use those 194 contract clauses and properties to actually make your playbook even more full. And then, even better, one thing that a lot of customers who use AI playbooks had asked for is, let's make it even more customizable to my needs. And that's why I'm super excited to talk to you about custom AI clauses. So every organization has specific business needs and clauses to accompany those specific business needs. And now with Ironclad AI, you're going to be able to train custom AI models to recognize those clauses. And you're going to be able to use these everywhere, at every part of the contracting lifecycle. You're going to be able to use them in playbooks to make sure that you're using the fallbacks in the right situations. You're going to be able to use that in Smart Import to identify those clauses in your legacy agreements. So This AI clauses, custom AI clauses, is going to be available this month in beta, and I'm going to turn it over to the video to explain more.
Out of the box, Ironclad analyzes your incoming contracts for 194 different terms and clauses, like counterparty info, payment terms, and termination rights. But what if you need insights and guardrails for positions that aren't included in these out-of-the-box properties? Well, now you can train your own deep learning models with a feature called Custom AI Clauses. To see how it works, let's say customer data is a clause we want to add to the system. We'll copy it and head over to the new AI Clauses tab. And here you can see we've already begun training the custom model with 2 different customer data clauses that we pulled from other vendor agreements. And so we'll add this one to make 3 total examples, and 3 is all we need. There's no coding or large data sets required. We enable it and it's ready to go. And from this point on, your repository imports will flag these clauses automatically. And beyond that, you can begin to build compliance guardrails around these properties too. Let's take a look at it over in Workflow Designer, where we'll select customer data from our AI clauses, and then require legal approval if the clause doesn't appear. Okay, let's test it out. Our stakeholder brings in a new vendor agreement. Ironclad AI analyzes it, and here it is, a customer data clause. This one is written differently than the examples we trained on, but Ironclad AI identifies it nonetheless, and as a result, no legal intervention is needed at this time. And that is Custom AI Clauses, available in beta starting in April 2023.
Joining us on the stage today, I'm super excited to introduce Catherine Cai from Everlaw, Director of Legal. Come on up. Take a seat.
Thanks.
Hey, Catherine. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the stage. I am so excited to have you here. We're really excited to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Everlaw?
Yeah, I'm Director of Legal Operations and Strategy at Everlaw. Everlaw is a cloud-native e-discovery platform. We also have some AI in our platform. And I'm responsible for making sure that the legal department achieves its mission of facilitating growth and mitigating risk scalably, but also making sure that we help the company achieve its business goals.
Awesome. Welcome. That was a great intro. Excited to have you. Can we dive in?
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive in. So you have a really big sales team. And they're using Ironclad. Can you just tell us, how do they like using it?
Yeah. You say we have a really big sales team. They doubled over the course of the last year. You know whose team did not double over the course of the last year? Legal. So my sales team loves Ironclad. I would have loved Ironclad anyway, but because they love Ironclad, I love it more.
I love that too. It makes me smile. Tell me why you love it, and maybe in other words, like what's honestly been your guiding light for supporting sales, commercial teams?
Yeah, when I first got to Everlaw, we were doing every single contract change manually, regardless of how stupid it was. Little changes, we use CPQ, it's not that flexible. We were having to do everything, copying and pasting every aspect of the contract over into a Microsoft Word template. And that was an eye-bleeding exercise for everybody involved, and sales and legal kind of hated each other.
Yeah.
Where's my contract? Why are you bothering me? It's fantastic. Ironclad really gave us the opportunity to put more power in the hands of the salespeople in a way that we could trust, that they could trust. I'm really happy to see more guardrails are coming in Ironclad because it lets us set the salespeople free to go do what they do and bring in more revenue for the company, and we can focus on the things where we really need to focus.
So I think you kind of gave us a little sprinkle, but how do you really think about guardrails for the sales team? I mean, operationally.
For us, we're right now leaning really hard on conditions. So depending on the combination of fields, salespeople can go out and do what they want to do. They frequently come back and say, can't we have this automated as well? And if I have a solid 4 hours to think about it, then the answer is yes. We're also starting to use, we're a beta user of AI Assist and AI playbooks, and we're starting to think really hard about where are the places where there are decisions that have to be made in the business, but legal ends up actually writing them in. So it looks like people are waiting for us. We don't want them to wait for us. So how can we leverage what's in Ironclad, what's coming from Ironclad, to put that power in the hands where it belongs with the business teams? Also the responsibility. So we'll see how that goes.
I could not agree more. I'm a sales leader at Ironclad, and I love the guardrails. Like, I know exactly where the buck stops and where I can approve and where I actually need to loop somebody else in.
There's a little bit of a downside on the guardrails for me personally, which is before, as you can imagine, I knew all of the salespeople at Everlaw since they were upset and looking for things. We've doubled in size, and there are honestly some salespeople I haven't met since the first day they started and we did an intro to legal. I met one on BART who was traveling with one of the A's I actually knew. And he said, oh, I saw you're going to that Ironclad thing. You must like them a lot. I was like, yeah, I do. He said, why? And so I explained to him, like, they're curious. Good salespeople, they're curious.
That's right.
And I said, if you're familiar with TurboTax, you don't have to know the tax code. You don't have to know all the different rules. You go look for this form in this box and put this number here, and Ironclad allows me to do that with our contracts. Yeah. It's very comforting for me. I think it's comforting for the salespeople too. My team is a bunch of angels, so obviously they're not trying to do anything wrong. So they're very happy to have the guardrails as well.
Yes, I love a sales angel. Okay, can we talk about AI?
Yeah.
Okay, just general thoughts. How are you feeling about it? You saw a lot up on the stage today. I am very curious.
Yeah, I'll be honest, with apologies to Ted and Adam, who I think are wonderful, I'm a little bit afraid of it, truthfully. I'm a sci-fi fan. I've seen what can go wrong. I am a little bit afraid of it, but because of that, I'm trying to lean in a little bit harder, right? It is the future, it's here. This is the biggest thing that's gonna happen over the course of my lifetime. And I owe it to my sales team to make it easier for them to get their jobs done. So I am excited and also fearful about what's coming.
I could not have stated that better. And I think every sales team would be super lucky to have somebody like you on supporting them. I genuinely...
Not all of them feel that way.
I genuinely, as a salesperson, I'm just gonna say...
Be like a therapy couch.
Yeah, this is a therapy couch. Pull up a seat. I think that's actually good advice for all of us as we use these new tools and lean into technology, right? Like, is that...
It's be brave and don't worry about making a mistake. Obviously, I think it's okay to be afraid, but take that first step. It's not gonna hurt anything, and you'll probably get a really great result out of it.
Yeah, and make sure you got your controls set up.
Make sure you got those controls set up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Catherine, I could probably listen to you talk about contracts for hours, but I'm gonna say thank you. Thank you so much for coming up here and telling us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, before we wrap, I'm really excited to actually make you play a game show. So please welcome to the stage Michaela. Some of you may know her.
I'm Michaela from the product marketing team at Ironclad, and I'm here to unveil yet another Ironclad AI-related innovation, a game show, where we'll test your ability to identify AI-written contract language or a lawyer-written contract language. So here's how it's gonna work. We're gonna show up on the screen 5 sets of clauses, with 1 clause written by AI, 1 written by a lawyer. The game is to guess which one was written by AI. For the game, we're gonna be standing, and I'll flash the 2 slides on the screen. Take a minute, read each clause, and then in your mind, guess which one is AI. Keep that in your mind when we reveal the answer. If you are correct, stay standing. If you are incorrect, take a little break, take a seat. At the end of the 5 rounds, everyone left standing will be our winners, and you will get some very special Ironclad swag as a prize. So now we know the stakes are high, and that's good because this game is gonna be hard. So if you wanna play, please stand up. Let's stretch our legs a little bit. Are we ready? Are we excited? Woo! Okay, clause number 1. The NDA, non-disclosure. Everyone take a second, read it. This is pretty standard. So standard, you might say, that AI could do a pretty good job of writing one. Give you 5 more seconds. Okay, keep in your mind which one you think is correct, A or B, because the answer is A. So if you got that correct, stay standing. If you got that wrong, take a seat, take a little break. I love seeing some people sit because that means we have honesty in the crowd. Clause number 2, auto-renew. Another very standard contract clause. Some of you in this room may have actually stricken this from your Ironclad contract. Well, that's okay, because you wanted to renew anyway. So A or B, keep it in your mind. And the answer is A. Whoa, that got a lot of people. Number 3, force majeure. I'm sure we've all read a lot of these throughout COVID. I'm sure we all edited a lot of these to make sure that pandemic was included. And because of that, I would guess that ChatGPT has a pretty good database to pull from here. So I'll give everyone 10 more seconds. A or B? B or A? B! Okay, the group is holding steady here. Number 4, the beta agreement. If you've been an early user in some of Ironclad's AI technology, then you have signed one of these. If you're going to be knocking at the door to be a participant in our future beta programs, then you'll definitely get one of these. So maybe take a moment, read them side by side, and be prepared for when you'll sign one with Ironclad, inevitably. A or B? The answer is, I feel like next time we need a drum roll sign, but just notes for next time. The answer is B. Whoa. The herd is thinning. Okay, the final clause. So if you're still standing, I'm sure your heart's beating a little fast right now. There's a lot on the line. Media release. Again, we're all familiar with this. Everyone had to sign one when they came to the event today. Keep in your mind, A or B. I will know if you're cheating. The answer is B. Oh, okay. I can't see super well, but if you are still standing, please come up. Come on, if you're standing, come on up.
Michaela.
Okay, 2 winners. Congratulations. Okay, you have won an Ironclad swag bag. Woo! 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 For you. Woo!
Congratulations, that was amazing. Okay, oh, I'm so sorry. So folks, this is actually a wrap now. Thank you so much to our amazing panel of customers, Adam, Ryan, and Catherine. Thank you so much, Ted. Thank you so much, Cai, for just kind of unveiling some pretty cool features. Thank you, Michaela, for a riveting game show. I loved it. I was wrong. I got the immediate first one wrong. If you are interested in using AI Assist, please reach out to your account team. Please talk to us. We would love to help you turn it on. And with that, this is a wrap. We were gonna go hang out with DJ Thad in the lobby, so why don't we all stand up?
We are here in beautiful San Francisco at our first in-person Ironclad Live event. It's been a great day, but next we're coming for you, New York City. June 20th, please join us if you're in New York, the tri-state area, the East Coast, Europe. If you are anywhere in the world, then you better be at Ironclad Live, New York, June 20th. We'll see you there.
fast.